Okay, so first one, find in slope-intercept form the equation of the line that's parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 8 and passes through the point 9, negative 1. Remember, if any point I'm going too fast or you got a question, just stop me and ask. Okay, this one's nice because it gives you half of your equation. Y equals negative 3x. That's the slope because it's parallel. It's going to have the same exact slope, right? So at this point, I would use the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, right? It's that one up on the board, up in the top right, in the red box. This is going to be our x1, and this is going to be our y1. And here's our slope, right? So now we just plug stuff in and solve, and away we go. Y minus negative 1. This is one of the most common errors, is forgetting the double negative and turning it into positive. So don't forget the double negative in there, if it has one. Slope is negative 3. And then we do x minus 9. All right? So we got y plus 1 over here. Distribute the negative 3 through to both sides, both pieces here. Negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 9 is positive 27. I usually like to just go negative times negative is positive. 3 times 9 is 27. Kind of do it bit by bit, make it a little bit easier. And then last step, subtract 1 from both sides. And we get y equals negative 3x plus 26, right? Plus 26. Good? Okay. Again, no questions or bad questions except for the ones you don't ask. So make sure you ask that if you have it. 2 then, find in slope-intercept form the equation line that passes through these points. So they're not giving us the slope. We actually have to find the slope. And then once we have the slope, we can use either one of these two points, right? So officially the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So we've got 5 minus 1, and then 4 minus negative 4. Don't forget the double negative. It's always subtraction between these, and since that's a negative 4, it's 4 minus negative 4, which turns into plus 4. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 and 4 gives us 8. So this is 1/2 for our slope, right? All right, we know slope is 1/2. And then now we can pick either one of these points to plug into our point slope formula, right? So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We know our slope is 1/2. And then we're going to plug in either one of these points. I would probably, if I had a choice between these two, I'd probably choose this one so then I don't get any double negatives. I won't forget any. So, but either one of them will work just fine. So y minus 5 and x minus 4, and then now we're just going to simplify. Y minus 5, half of x is 1/2 x, right? Positive times a negative is a negative. Half of 4 is 2. Last step, add 5. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Good? Making okay-ish sense? Okay, ask the questions if you have them. It's all good.
I said turn the calendar on.
What?
He said, can you turn Kanye West?
3, find the cost of a Sounders ticket. Oh, the final cost of a Sounders ticket is displayed in the graph. Find the y-intercept and interpret its meaning. Y-intercept is this right here at 40, right? Right? Oh, kind of nice, huh? So it's 40. So that means it's going to cost $40 to be right on the goal line. Okay, so 40, it cost $40 to be on the goal line. Goal line. Okay? And then the intent on this was distance from goal. Like as you get closer and closer to midfield, the price goes up. That was the intent, but so that was a hard one to comprehend from that.
Yeah,
I get it.
like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I know. I tried. It didn't work. Sorry. Find the gradient, the slope, and interpret its meaning. So slope, remember, is rise over run. Oops, R-U-N. There we go. Rise over the run. So on this one here, I'm going to find the rise. So that's from here to here, right? That's from 40 to 100. That goes up 60. And then the run, because again, sorry, I picked this point right here because it intersects in a nice spot. So I picked that and then went over, and that goes over 40 from 0 to 40 is a distance of 40. So the rise is 60, the run is 40, which gives us 1.5 is our slope. Okay, and then what does that mean? It's going to cost you an extra $1.50 for every yard you move closer to the closer to midfield. So it costs $1.50 per yard to get closer to midfield. Okay. And I was pretty lenient on this because I realized that I was not able to, I didn't communicate this problem as well as I thought I did. So I was pretty lenient on that. But, and then last part, C, find the equation of the line. You could do Y and X. You can do, like I might do this, C for cost is going to be 1.5, right? And that is 1.5 per, $1.50 per yard. Plus 40 for starters. You can do that. A lot of people did Y equals 1.5 X plus 40. That's fine. Even if you got these numbers wrong, but you copied them into your equation correctly, you got credit for it because that's really all you had to do is just copy those into the equation and off you go. All right? Any other questions on 3? Okay. Let's look at 4, 5, and 6 then. Draw the graph of. This is something that if we did not have a pandemic for a while there, you would have had a lot more practice on this. So some people struggled with this, and it's okay. Let's just make sure that we've got you all figured out. Okay? With this here, this right here, this number at the end, if it's in Y equals form, that's our Y intercept, right? So I know that this graph starts at -2. And then this here, this is our slope. Okay, kind of similar to what we did on number 1 and number 2 on this. So I know I'm going to go up 1 over 3, and I might even do it again, up 1 over 3, and then I make myself a nice straight line that connects all those points. Let's see if I can. I've got a cheater button that helps me make straight lines, but so roughly something like that. As long as you're in the neighborhood, you got the points plotted right, and you've got a straight line going through that, then you're in good shape. Okay. This one you could either do the x-intercept and y-intercept, like what we have to do on 6, or I think most people chose to put this into y equals form, so I'll just do that. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. All right, we get -2y equals -3x plus 6. And then we got to get rid of that -2, so we divide everything by -2. Right? So we get y equals, the negative over negative gives us positive 3/2 x, and then 6 divided by -2 is -3. Okay, so then with that, y-intercept is our -3. And then our slope is up 3 over to the right 2. Up 3 over to the right 2. Draw ourselves a nice straight line that goes through all those points. That one was not good. That's closer. Close enough. All right, looks something like that. Good? Yeah. 6 then. Consider the line with the equation 3x minus y equals 9. Find the axes, intercepts of the line. Just to kind of remind you, let's say if we've got here's our x and here's our y, right? All along the x-axis here, we have not gone up or down at all, so that means, oops, I want to pick a better color. Let's see, that's easier to see. Y equals 0. Okay, all along this x-axis, y equals 0. And same idea, all along the y-axis, we haven't moved left or right, so that means x equals 0 when we're looking for the y-intercept. Okay, so if I'm, say, looking for the x-intercept first, then that means that y equals 0. So basically, I'm going to do this. 3x minus, I know that y has to be 0, equals 9. So that's negative 0. That goes away. I just have 3x equals 9. Divide both sides by 3. X-intercept is going to be 3. Okay? And then if we want to find the y-intercept, that's when x equals 0. So I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to plug 0 in for x. So we'll do that down here. So 3 times 0 for x minus y equals 9. That turns into 0. Negative y equals 9, so that means positive y equals negative 9. So the y-intercept is going to be negative 9. All right? Is this helping, I hope, for... Okay, see some nodding, so that's good. All right. Determine, for B, determine whether the following point lies on the line. So all we want to do for this is just plug this 4 in for x and this 3 in for y into this equation right here. So let's do that right here. So we do 3x minus y equals 9. So now where we see x, we're going to put in 4. Where we see y, we're going to plug in 3. And then we're going to check and see if this works. 3 times 4 is 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3 is indeed 9. So if this is true, then yes, it is on the line. Okay, if this ended up being not true, then it's not on the line. Okay, just making some sense. Hopefully making more sense from earlier. Sure. Okay, good. Find B such that B in 6 lies on the line. Same exact idea with part B. We're going to plug this B in for x and this 6 in for the y. So, again, we have 3x minus y equals 9. So, it's going to be 3 times B minus 6 equals 9. So, 3b minus 6 equals 9. Add 6 to both sides. We get rid of that, and we get 3b equals 15. Divide both sides by 3. And we get that b equals 5. All right. At backside, number 7. Oh, yeah, question. What do you got? Number 7. Find the midpoint. Okay, so remember, I don't need you to memorize any of these formulas. They're all on that pink sheet, or you could write them down on notes or whatever, and that's fine. So midpoint, if you'll remember, is... add the two x's together, divide by 2, and then add the two y's together. Oops, that's not a y. That is. And divide by 2, right? Add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So we'd go 6 plus negative 2 over 2, and negative 1 plus 3 over 2. So let's see. 6 plus negative 2 is 4 halves. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2 halves. So that ends up getting us 2 and 1, right? Okay. Find the slope then of AB. Slope y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So 3, in this case 3 minus negative 1 over negative 2 minus 6. Double negative together is a positive, so that's 4 on the top. Negative 2 and negative 6 is negative 8. So that reduces down to negative 1/2 is our slope for that. And then find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. So good news is you need the midpoint. And then now you got to take this slope and turn it into the perpendicular slope, right? So the slope right now is negative 1/2. So the perpendicular, you got to flip it over and switch the sign, right? So it turns into 2 over 1, and now it's positive. So it's the perpendicular slope now is just 2. So we get y equals, it's going to be 2x, and then we just got to figure out what goes at the end there. But that's where our little y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Our point slope formula can help us out. Right? Now, here's a common mistake I saw a fair amount of people making on this one here. A lot of people chose to put either of these 2 points in, but you got to put your new midpoint in because it's saying the equation of the perpendicular bisector. So, just so you kind of get an idea here, let's say this was our line, where that's like, say, 6, 1 and negative 2, 3. We are finding the perpendicular bisector. So we cut this line exactly in half. That's this midpoint right here. And then we're finding the line that goes exactly perpendicular to that. So that's why we have to use this new midpoint to find, that's the only point we know for sure that's on this line. And we know the slope, and we know that point on the line. That's why we use the new midpoint, okay? Because again, a fair amount of people were using either A or B, and that's what threw some of your answers off. So, y minus, here's our x1 and our y1, right? Y minus 1 equals, our slope is 2, and we get x minus 2. Y minus 1 equals, distribute that 2 through to both, 2x minus 4, add 1 to both sides, and we get y equals 2x minus 3. Making okay sense? Yeah? Let's do 10. Find the equation of the perpendicular bisector for these 2 points. So basically for 10, you got to go through the steps you did for 7, 8, and 9. But that didn't like lead you through it like I did for that one. But we're basically doing the same thing. So we got to find midpoint. Okay, right, which is add the 2 x's together, divide by 2, negative 1 plus negative 5 over 2, and then add the 2 y's together, 3 plus negative 9 over 2, and that gives us what? Negative 6 halves and negative 6 halves. So we get negative 3 is the midpoint. Okay, this is a 3-point problem, so you got 1 point for finding the midpoint. You get another point for finding the perpendicular slope, and then you get another point for plugging it in correctly and getting your equation. So, just so you know where the points are coming from. But, so next thing, slope. We got to do y2 minus y1, negative 9 minus 3 over 5 minus negative 1. Which turns into 5 plus 1, so we get negative 12 over 6. Negative 2, wait, no, negative 5 and negative 1. There we go. So something looks fishy here. Okay, let's try that again. Right, because it's negative 5 and yeah, there we go. So that go over negative 4. The negatives cancel, turn into a positive. 12 divided by 4 gives us 3. So our slope on this equation is 3 for sure. So we know it's y equals 3x, and then we just got to find the y-intercept. And we can do that by plugging this into the point slope formula. All right. 1. So let's see, we do y minus negative 3 equals m, which is 3 times x minus negative 3. Again, you got to use your midpoint for your x and your y. All right. Turns into plus here. Y plus 3 is, distribute that 3 to both, and we get 3x plus 9. Subtract 3 from both sides, and we get y equals 3x plus 6, right? Did I do something wrong? Something looks fishy. Yeah, what'd I do?
The slope is wrong, because if it's a perpendicular...
Oh, I didn't do the perpendicular part, did I? Oh, Mr. Stansbury. Ooh, extra credit for you. Don't let me forget. Okay, I'm erasing all that. Yeah, I was saying, it's like, this doesn't look right. I feel like I forgot something. I did. Yeah, so our slope's 3. So then we got to find the perpendicular to that. Because I just found the parallel to that. So, here's our slope. So, perpendicular, that's 3 over 1. So we got to flip that over to 1 over 3, and it's negative 1 over 3, right? My apologies. So that 3 isn't there anymore. It's negative 1/3 there. That's going to work better. y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus negative 3 equals negative 1/3 of x minus negative 3. Now we're a little better. Okay, y plus 3, negative, let's see. We're going to take this negative 1/3 and distribute it through to both sides over here. So that's just negative 1/3 x. And then we got a negative times a positive, which gives us a negative. And then we say, what's 1/3 of 3? And that should just be 1. Right? And then last step, oops, subtract 3 from both sides. Y equals negative 1/3 x minus 4. Minus 4. That's the equation we should be looking for. All right, let's look at, we just got a couple more left and we'll be good. 1D, simultaneous equations. Solve using any method except graphing. Don't graph these because they're not. It's going to be really hard. You have to draw those lines perfectly straight that go exactly through the points. It's just not worth your pain and suffering. So always do elimination or substitution. I set both of these up hopefully fairly nice for elimination on this one. So look, if you add these two together, look, the x's are gone. Add 4y plus y gives us 5y. Negative 21 and negative 9 is negative 30. Divide both sides by 5, and we get y equals negative 6. A few people lost their negative along the way, so don't do that because then that throws off the rest of your answer. But and then to find your, let's see, we know that y is negative 6, so to find x, you can plug it into either one of these. I'm going to plug it into the top one because then I don't have to deal with a negative x. So 3x plus 4 times y, which is negative 6, equals negative 21. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24, equals 21. Oh, equals negative 21. I'm messing that up, sorry. Equals negative 21. Add 24 to both sides. 3x equals 3. Divide by 3. Both sides, and we get x equals 1, right? Good? Okay. And then this one over here, the 2 and the negative 3 aren't going to really work together very well, but the 4 and the 8 work together a little nicer. I always look at the bigger of the two, like the larger of the numbers, like regardless of sign. 8, and I say, okay, I want this one up here to be the opposite of 8, which would be negative 8. So if I multiply that whole thing by negative 2, if I multiply all this by negative 2, then I'm going to end up getting a negative 8y, and that's what, if I add it to this one, then the y's will cancel out. So negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, negative 2 times 4y is negative 8y, and negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, right? And then we move our negative 3x plus 8y equals 39 over here, and then we just add these together. The y's are gone. Negative 4x and negative 3x is negative 7x. Negative 4 and 39 equals 35. To find x, we divide both sides by negative 7, and we get x is negative 5. Right? And then we can plug that back in to find what y is. All right? Doing okay? Am I going too fast? Or are we all right? We're okay? All right. I'm going to plug it into the first one. 2 times x, which we now know is negative 5, plus 4y equals 2. That gives us negative 10 plus 4y equals 2. Add 10 to both sides. And we get 4y equals 12. Divide by 4. Y has to be 3. All right, let's take a look at the last one. Last one's 13 and 14. Mookie buys 7 bottles of yogurt shampoo and 3 tubes of Cheeto chapstick. which is a real thing, by the way. You can look it up. Yeah, I saw pictures of it. It looks gross, but you know, hey, who knows? Who am I to judge? Those things cost him $32.68. Savannah buys some more. Cost her $27.46. So here's what I like to do. I'm going to set up my variables. So I'm going to say that y. Oops, I'll get this right. Y is going to be, because we're trying to find the cost of the yogurt shampoo. So I'm going to say y is going to equal cost of a bottle of yogurt shampoo. Okay, and then C is going to be the cost of a tube of Cheeto chapstick. All right. Oops. Okay. All right. So at least got my I like to set my variables up so that at least it makes sense with the problem. You don't have to, but you can do X and Y, and that works just fine. But now I know Mookie buys 7 bottles of yogurt shampoo. So 7 bottles of yogurt shampoo, and then 3 tubes of Cheeto chapstick is going to end up costing $32.68. Okay, and then Savannah goes in, buys 4 bottles of yogurt shampoo and 6 tubes of Cheeto chapstick, and that cost her $27.46. Okay, so that's probably like 80% of the battle is just coming up with your equations. So just know that, like on these problems here, if you come up with your equations, you'll get at least a couple of points, regardless of what else you did on there. So, but anyway, now we want to go through and solve this. The 7 and the 4 don't really play very well together, but the 3 and the 6 do, right? So I look at the bigger of the two, 6, and say, okay, I want this one up here to be the opposite of 6, which is -6. So I say, what do I have to multiply 3 by to get to -6? And that would be -2. So I'm going to distribute my -2 to all 3 pieces. All right, so -2 times 7y is -14y minus 6c. And then, let's see, I'm getting a calculator for this one here. 32.68. 32.68 times -2 gives us -65.36. All right, and then I'm just going to move this other one over because I don't have to change anything in that. 4y plus 6c equals 27.46. When I add these two lines together, the c's drop out. We get -10y equals -65.36 and 27.46. Gives us -37.90. All right, and then divide both sides by -10, and we get that y has to equal $3.79. So, and that happens to be the yogurt shampoo. So, $3.79 for a bottle of yogurt shampoo. All right, now the second question, 14, says Jimmy brings $41 to the store and wants to spend it all on Cheeto chapstick, because everybody would want to do that. How many tubes could he buy? So we know how much a yogurt shampoo costs. We have to figure out how much a Cheeto chapstick costs, and then we can figure out how many tubes you can buy with 41 bucks. All right, so we got y equals 379. Plug that back into either one of these to figure out our Cheeto chapstick. I'm going to probably plug it into this first one here because the C is a little small. It doesn't matter. Either one would work just fine. But so I'm going to do this. 7 times 379 plus 3C equals 32.68. So on our handy dandy calculator, 7 times 379 gives us 26.53 over here, plus 3C equals 32.68. Subtract 26.53. And we get 3C equals, let's see, so we're going to do 32.68 minus 26.53. And that gives us, let's see, $6.15. Divide both sides by 3. And we get that C is going to equal, what, 205. All right. So the cost of one tube of Cheeto chapstick is $205. So if Jimmy brings 41 bucks in, we can take 41 divided by 2.05, and that will tell us how many tubes of Cheeto chapstick he can get. 41 divided by 2.05 gives us exactly 20 with no change. Hopefully there's no tax on that. But, or maybe that's the price with tax, we hope. But yeah, so you can buy 20 tubes of Cheeto chapstick. All right?